Hello and welcome to this YouTube series on data warehousing. I'm Shreyas, Microsoft certified data engineer and someone who has been involved with data warehousing concepts for a while now. Now, data warehousing has turned out to be one of the most long lasting and high impact areas in text. It really came out of a need. Organizations in 1980s were drowning in data spread across tons of different systems. There was no easy way to bring it all together. That is where the data warehousing stepped in and started maturing through the 90s alongside things like ERP systems, the rise of the internet, CRM tools and distributed computing. At its core, data warehousing is all about pulling together data from across an organization and sometimes outside of it, organizing it properly and making it then usable. Business intelligence and modern analytics then help us actually make sense of that data and make better data driven decisions. And just to be clear, this is not some outdated concept. Even today, pretty much every medium or large organization, whether it's a company, government body, or a non-profit, relies on some sort of data warehousing. Even with all the buzz around the big data, the field keeps evolving and adapting to newer technologies, becoming more powerful. So, what you're learning here is not just relevant today, but it is something that is going to stay valuable for years to come. So, in this series of videos, I'll focus on best practices, the approaches that have stood the test of time. By the end of this series, the goal is simple. You should feel confident enough to design and build a data warehouse, whether you are doing it solo or as a part of team. So stick around, and once again, welcome to this YouTube series on data warehousing. One thing I want to clarify upfront, however, this is an introductory conceptual course, so we won't cover every single concept that is out there. Some things I'll touch briefly and a few might skip altogether, but realistically we'll still cover 60 to 70% of all the possible topics, and more importantly about 80% of what you actually need to build real world data warehouse systems. Think of it like focusing on the critical mass. By the end of this, you will have a strong foundation to design and architect a data warehouse. And if you ever run into some unusual or tricky modeling problem later, you will know where to look and how to build on what you have already learned. Now, I'll focus on two closely connected areas. First is we'll cover the fundamentals, the core concepts and the architecture. You will see different architectural problem to build a data warehouse along with their pros and cons. We'll also talk about ETL, that is extraction, transformation and loading, which is a big part of the whole system. Then I'll shift into the design side of the things. Here we'll dive into the dimensional modeling, basically how you structure your data to support the analysis and decision making. I'll go through the concepts like facts and dimensions, fact tables and dimension tables, and how all of this fits inside a relational database. I'll also talk about handling historical data using closely changing dimension, that is SCDs, and I'll walk through a step-by-step example of how it really clicks. Towards the end, we'll come back to the architecture and go deeper into ETL design. This is where everything starts coming together. Think of data warehousing like hidden backbone of everything that we'll call data-driven decisions. Most people don't really notice it, but it's always there doing something that is, called as heavy lifting. It is not exciting as flashy dashboards or big insights, but it is what makes those insights possible in the first place. If your data is not clean, structured and reliable, your decisions won't be reliable either. Even with all the buzz around newer things like data lakes and big data ecosystems and AI, data warehousing is not going anywhere. In fact, the stronger your foundations here are, the better everything else, analytics, AI, decision makings, will perform on top of it.